front yard in his carriage. And in the backyard, there had been an old tire swing. And Gene had persuaded her to remove it because it was dragging the ground and it just wasn't a plaything anymore. So what was left was a piece of rope, maybe 3 or 4 feet long, hanging from the limb of that tree. So Jean is in the front yard, and she's caught up in the moment, and suddenly she thinks, you know, I wonder where Don is. So she starts to push Jay around into the backyard. In the meantime, Don had pushed his little fire engine or some little vehicle underneath that road, stood up on it, and somehow managed to get up in the road. And when Jean came around to the back of the house, Don was hanging there dead. So a good friend goes to the pond where Erk is at, and Erk's out in the middle, and he hollers, he says, "Coach, you need to come home." And Erk says, "How bad is it?" He said, it's bad. So, in the present tense, Erk, he says, you know, I walked through the valley for months and months and months. And then one day, it dawned on me that I had 2 sons and a wife, and that I had to put my life back together. He said, that's the story. So, Erk lost his little boy, and how he got into that, up in that piece of road, we'll never know. But we never talked about it again. We never talked about it again. And until the day Erk left us at the country store and died, it was never mentioned again. But it was part of his life, and it's in the book. You know, speaking of the book, we had to talk him into doing the book. He said, "Mandy, why do we do a book? Nobody gives a damn about me and my book." And he meant it. He was not being pretentious. Erk Russell was, he just didn't play games. The first thing he did when he met someone was that he looked them straight in the eyes. He was looking for honor. And you take that and you diagram it down. You give me your best. Not for me, but for yourself. And when we walk into that locker room, whether there's a victory or defeat on that board, if we know that we have done our very best, that's what I want from you.
You know, I think the one comment I hear more than any other comment is, I miss seeing Coach Russell in here. After 25 years, writing the eulogy for his funeral was the easiest thing I ever had to write. But by far, the hardest thing I've ever had to deliver. I don't think he really realized what a really big person he was, or what a big legend he was and is. He just never let on to it. If anything, I think it embarrassed him more than anything else. You know, I traveled with him on numerous occasions, and he was almost like traveling with a rock star. I mean, people just loved him, and they were drawn to him. I mean, no doubt, the excitement of football, I mean, look up on my walls in here, all the major magazines. Sports Illustrated wrote an article about it. The television stations would just come into my restaurant and turn it into a studio, and people got used to it. You talk about your $4 million football coach. If they're worth $4 million, he's worth $10 million. That's not what he was in it for. He came to Statesboro and gave us everything
interviews here at Snooki's. Reporters would meet him. They'd go and sit at a separate table, do an interview, and then he'd get up and come back to his place at the table. You know, Erk, he was just one heck of a nice guy. Very friendly, very outgoing. Always had a pleasant word for you. And he had a knack that he could remember things. If he met you, I don't know, maybe once or twice, and he could remember whatever you told him. Next time he saw you, well, how's this going? Or how's your mom doing? Or this, that, and the other. And if you had an achievement or something simple like that, well, he would praise you. He would encourage you. He was just a good, friendly man. No, I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. Other than this new coach, Chris Hatcher, well, I think he's going to do a good job because he sort of patterns himself after Coach Russell. He seems to be a go-getter the way Coach Russell was, and I think that's going to help. He felt like the buses. Well, you don't screw with tradition. And for him to have driven the buses with the players to the game, well, none of the others did that, you know. They always had drivers. But here comes the first home game. And here comes Chris Hatcher driving the first yellow bus. Ah, he's a shoo-in now. That's the way it works down here. You get the players and you drive the buses. So, I think that's about him in a nutshell. But I do remember this one time when, they were all gathered around the table at Snooki's and they were talking.
I'm going to say it one more time. We're Georgia Southern. Our colors are blue and white. We call ourselves the Bald Eagles. We call our offense the Georgia Power Company, and that's a terrific name for an offense. And our snap count is rate hike. We practice on the banks of beautiful Eagle Creek, and that's in Statesboro, Georgia, the nat capital of America. Our weekends begin on Thursday. The co-heads outnumber the men 3-2. They're all good looking, and they're all rich. And folks, you just can't beat that. And you just can't beat Georgia Southern. And you ain't seen nothing yet. Thank you.